This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings, 8 to 9:30, or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombarnardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
And that's going to do it for the morning show, the family show. Oh, it's only a few after 8 here. Yeah. What are you doing in there?
Well, I came in this morning and I don't know, we must have had some tech issues or something because the entire first hour of the show in the log was blown out and already played. So I don't know if there was a clock issue or what.
There's no clock issues. So Cassie did something?
It could have been set to autoplay or something. I don't know. But yeah, so I just had to take care of that.
Is it a huge problem?
It is not now.
It was.
It was when I thought we only had 7 minutes when I noticed it, but
did the whole episode appear on the internet?
No.
Yeah, that's not good.
Or no,
yeah.
the yesterday's appeared, but So this morning it was just we had to re-insert the ads or whatever.
Yeah,
so
it was more of a I like to do it the day before so I don't have to rush before the show like I did just now. But it's nice to know that I was able to still dust off the old
cool, calm, and collected under
exactly,
pressure.
You know,
oh god,
some of us are built for big moments.
He would be the Tom Brady of podcast production.
God, why me? Okay, because there's one thing that I want to get settled in my head because apparently I am the person to reach out to argue this point.
Okay,
you're the point person on a lot of things I want to argue. So this is good.
Well, there you go. So yeah, this will be part of it. There's no question about it.
All right.
There's the beginning of it, which I don't have the answer to, but I do have the ending to it. Something I've been talking about for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this whole eating kitties and dogs issue.
Mm-hmm.
Half the people insist to me that it never happened, and the other half of the people insist that it did happen.
Yep.
And they say there's even video of it. Of course, that video could have been shot afterward. I mean, is there any definitive proof either way that it did or did not happen?
So there was a woman who allegedly killed and ate a cat in Ohio.
Right.
She was not an immigrant. She was born and raised in Canton, Ohio. American U.S. citizen, Social Security card, ID.
May as well have been an
probably
immigrant
a passport.
Yeah,
right.
Dump.
So she allegedly, her name is Alexis Farrell, 27, of Canton, is accused of killing and eating a cat in front of several other people. But yeah, so not Haitian, not an immigrant,
Not in Springfield.
As well.
Okay, so this is exactly my point. People hear and believe what people want to hear and believe.
Mhm.
Because one side says it was many people and they were all Haitian and they were eating cats.
Yep.
And the other side said, well, it never happened. They're both lying.
Yeah, it's a lot like when that guy was high on bath salts in Florida.
Oh, yeah.
And there were people like, it's the zombie apocalypse. It was one guy, while it's very sad that it happened, it was just one guy high on bath salts, not the entire state of Florida eating everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I'm glad that this actually did happen because everybody has to, and I'm going to make a point with this whole deal, believe me.
Mhm.
So it did happen, but it didn't happen the way, okay, so I got to better phrase it this way. It did happen, unlike what, one side said,
Mhm.
but it didn't happen by and the way the other side said it happened.
Right.
So they both lied.
Right. And the great thing about this country is when there's new information that comes in, nobody ever just goes, oh, I guess I was a little bit wrong or
No.
And now we can all agree that this
No.
is what really happened. It's nope. This is all more misinformation and doctored this and whatever else.
Okay, now before we move on to the next part of this, just a guess from the two of you, because you've been in, radio podcasting for quite some time. How after she ate the cat, how many morning shows said she was eating something and used another word for cat?
100%.
All of them.
All of
I
them.
would say all of them.
Ohio woman arrested for eating some.
I guarantee you're right. 100% of those morning shows used that bit.
Yep.
No kidding.
Guaranteed. Okay, so here's the other part. There are two more parts to this, actually, and we'll get through it. And if I can't get through it all at once. Okay, yet another reason why you cannot trust any media. I don't care what it is. This is the AP this morning. This is right next to one another. I don't have to scroll down or go sideways or, click on and off. The first headline in AP, Francine weakens moving inland as the storm leaves behind flooding and widespread power outages. The story right next to that, war motions strengthen Hurricane Francine and could power more fall storms. So which one is it? Did it weaken or did it strengthen? It couldn't have done both.
No. And why is there a debate on whether the storm is getting worse or getting better?
Our news media now in this country is the worst it's ever been. And it's because everybody's doing it, and it's because of the internet.
Mm-hmm.
I wish the internet were used. Now, do you think most of the internet is being used the way it should be used, or is most of it being abused?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The way it should be used is like to benefit and progress society.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
right.
absolutely not. I'm seeing we're seeing a rumor being spread about a certain cat eating happening, and then it's like,
Right.
well, what's going on
Mhm.
with that? I will say, I amidst everything that's been going on, I sent a tweet of a baby hippo in Thailand to my girlfriend the other day.
Right.
Since then, my entire timeline has been this baby hippo, and I've never been happier. Her name is Moo
Good.
Deng, and all she does is just plop around in puddles all day. It's the best part of my day. Just looking at tweets and videos.
Well, see, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
how
So
life
I've been able
should
to
be.
avoid a lot of the cat eating stuff recently, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, look, once again, both sides are exaggerating or ignoring one or the other. There's no question, but that's what the news is now. A little storm has started. I'm a listener on this show, and I don't think he was reaching out to stir the pot, but I'm glad that he did, because both of these parties now, the Republican Party and I'm talking about the extremes of the Republican and the Democratic Party. What they're saying basically is, think what I think, believe what I believe, or I hate you. Is that not the message you're getting?
For the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, for the most part, right? 24 years ago on the KQ Morning, I said, assimilate or hit the goddamn road. Tell me the difference between what I said and what they're now saying. It's all assimilation,
Yeah.
right? But I asked not to assimilate the way that I think and believe. I asked people to assimilate toward an American society, which, because we didn't, is getting worse by the day. So don't you think that was good advice to say, hey, let's move toward one another. Let's assimilate. Me to you, you to me.
Right. You can solve a lot more problems together than you can arguing about who has a better solution.
Absolutely. So 24 years ago, I get smoked by the media in this town, and actually in the United States. Turns out Uncle Tommy might have been right. We should have assimilated. And by the way, if you're so set in your political ways that you demand somebody believes the same things you believe, you're asking them to assimilate to your life. There's no difference there. So all you phony bastards who went after everybody that I know and everything and all the rest of it, and it's not about me. I'm not talking about that. I just happen to experience it. What I said was assimilate or hit the goddamn road. That didn't mean that I wouldn't also move toward you. I never said that. But what these people are saying is you absolutely will believe in what I believe and think what I believe and think. Otherwise, I hate you. That's the kind of assimilation we don't need. So let's go back almost a quarter of a century and point out you guys were 100% wrong, which, a lot of people said you were, because you didn't understand for 1 second what it's like to let up a little bit on people. You have to think what I think, believe what I believe, and do what I do, or I hate your guts. You're the morons. I'm sorry. And I like to use that word because you people are incredibly stupid. Let's try to live together. Well, move together. I have over the years. I've moved my political position several times, not trying to fit in, but trying to find a spot where I do fit in. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So there you go. And I mean, look, I'm in a situation now I have to put up with, SKOR North for the next 10 minutes. Do you hear me bitching? No, I'm going to assimilate. I'm going to move towards sports reporting. You see how easy that was?
Yeah, and depending on how good the Twins are doing, that determines how much we move towards sports reporting or not. But I think we'll be all right today.
Exactly. So as I move on to the break and all the rest of it, just again, we need to assimilate to one another, not just one way, not just your way or not the other guy's way. We need to move together in assimilation. Get your head out of your ass. And I don't know who told you assimilation is a bad thing, because it's probably some college professor that's a moron and wrote a book or something. I need to sell my book. Yeah, right. Shut up. Don't make me come over there. We'll take a break. Be right back. Hi, it's Tom Barnard for Livia Weight Control Centers. Your success story starts today. Join Livia's doctor-recommended and award-winning nutrition program and get your first 8 weeks free. You could lose up to 20 pounds or more in your first 8 weeks. Plus, Livia offers weight loss medications to accelerate results. Receive personalized one-on-one guidance, plus expert nutrition and medical support. Livia is the destination for all weight loss solutions. Trust me when I say this, Livia works. And I'm here to tell you absolutely true. You know, we went through that move. It took like 2 months, for God's sake. But we went through it and we got through it, but I was eating at a lot of restaurants. Livia helped me with that. I continued to lose weight. Now, in the past week, we've had the anniversaries, we've had birthdays, we've had a new baby. We've celebrated by going out to dinner a lot. I lost 5 pounds last week. This week, I'm about even. And to hold even after all the dinners I had to go to this week, I think I'm actually even down still a half a pound. You can get it done. You do what you do. You live your life. Nobody's asking you to change your lifestyle or any of the rest of it. Just be a little prudent. And I'm telling you, it works. There's no question. Visit livia.com. That's LIVEA.com. Or call 855-GO-LIVIA. Join Livia's nutrition plan today and get your first 8 weeks free. Plus, Livia Medical offers GLP-1 medications for accelerated results. Visit Livia.com or call 855-GO-LIVIA. Choose the trusted leader serving our communities for 15 years because of Livia. And I'm here to tell you, Tommy says Livia works.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they taught you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
Yeah, baby. That's all I have to say to you. Beer, food, Vikings, real-life jousting. The only place you can find all these things together would be the 2024 Minnesota Renaissance Festival, happening weekends, I said. Yeah, good, Tom. Nice job. Happening weekends now through September 29th, plus Labor Day and September 27th. Located at the Renaissance Festival grounds in Shakopee. It's fun for the entire family as you venture around the grounds, finding amazing food and drinks, tons of different street acts, live music, full armored jousting. There's always something exciting going on. You like to live on the edge? Well, then try your hand at axe throwing, shooting a crossbow, climbing a rock wall, or test your wits in an escape room. It's also perfect for kids of all ages, featuring a petting zoo, various rides and games, along with arts and crafts events. Plus, with over 250 artisans and shops around the festival, you may just find something that scratches your medieval itch. Matter of fact, I guarantee you will. Visit RenaissanceFest.com now for discount tickets, parking passes, and all other information. The 2024 Minnesota Renaissance Festival. Visit RenaissanceFest.com today.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
And this is Judd Zulgad from North.
Did I hear that there's a problem with me coming on, that I have to be tolerated?
No, the team either has to win or get the hell away from us. That's what we're saying.
They won last night. It was ugly, but they won, huh?
Oh, I didn't know it got ugly. I only saw the first couple of things going on. What happened?
The first Angels hitter of the game, so the first guy to come up homered.
Yeah, right.
And Zebby Matthews, who started, didn't pitch well and got yanked. I think he'd only given up a run or two, but he still got yanked. And Twins used a lot of their bullpen, but they actually came back and won. And Brooks Lee, who has been in a slump, got a big double. And Royce Lewis, who's been in a big slump, thought he had a grand slam home run, but it ended up being a double that scored 2 runs. So, yeah, it was nice. they took 2 of 3. They could have taken all 3. The Angels are horrific. They're off today. They play the Reds, who aren't very good, but they're way better than the Angels. And so we shall see. Kansas City lost, so they gained a game on them, and they're now 3 up on Detroit in the wild card because Detroit did win. So
there you have us. But see, look at how happy we are now that Judd comes on and delivers positive news for a change. It's your fault.
I wish I could. You know what? I wish I could decide. I wish it was up to me to decide. These teams control my message.
They do indeed. There's no question about that. But so the Twins they're still looking pretty solid. There's only a couple of weeks left in the season. What, 3 weeks, I think, left in the season now?
Probably something like 15 games left.
Yeah, that's about right. So they can hang on for 15 more games, can't they?
Well, it depends. I mean, yeah, they can. Yeah, well, here's the problem. So they got the Reds, which again, they should take at least 2 of 3, but who knows? God knows, right? Then they've got Cleveland for 4. Okay, that's tough in Cleveland. Then they go to the Red Sox, who are absolutely a bizarre team. They lost again last night. They're now 4 back of the Twins. Boston is in the wild card, but it's never easy ordinarily in Fenway Park. And then they come home, I think, and they play the Marlins. So the Marlins are dreadful. But then they close against the Orioles, who very well might be playing to try to get first place because they're going to be a playoff team, but they're battling the Yankees for first place in the American League East.
Right.
That last series could be very interesting.
Oh, that's the kind of stuff I do like. I love that interesting final game kind of stuff. That is fun. I mean, I suppose I got that from the 87 Twins, which every game was their final game that year.
Yeah, exactly. But at least they clinched. They clinched with some time left in their case. And I don't know, these guys are going to clinch their playoff spot before the last day. So I think it could be unless, it's been so weird because Boston, and like we talked about this yesterday, Boston has had every chance to pass them. And Boston, since the All-Star break, has just been garbage. So it's hard. It's been a really weird year. There's been a lot of teams with incredible roller coaster seasons, including these guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you got the Twins won their last couple. You got the Vikings coming up again this weekend. But that is going to be a pretty tough road to hoe, isn't it?
Yeah, San Francisco is very good. In fact, they won. Christian McCaffrey, their star running back, was out on Monday night, and I guess he has Achilles tendonitis, which I didn't know existed, but I guess it does. So I don't think he's gonna. My guess is he doesn't play again, but they still won. They still won their opener without him. So yeah, this is gonna be. The Giants are horrific. I mean, the Giants are terrible. The Vikings looked really good, which was fine, but this game is going to tell us a lot more about the real identity of the Vikings. And, Darnold playing against the team he spent a year with. I think he started 1 game for him. But yeah, this game will give you a far better barometer. And their next 2 games are San Francisco and Houston, which is good.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And they're both at home. So they are, they're not going to have to travel. But I think coming out of those 2 games, we're going to have a better idea about this team.
No question about it. No, my lovely wife, Catherine, you just mentioned this. She asked me about the upcoming baseball season in April.
Yeah.
And she asked me about the, quote, Houston Colt 45s.
She did?
Catherine, that was about 40 years ago, but
40 years? That's 50 plus years ago.
Is it really 50 years? Well,
yeah, they switched when they moved to the Astrodome in like 65. Yeah.
So that was 60.
But she remembered that name?
Well, the reason she did is because her aunt was a wonderful person. She's no longer with us, unfortunately. Served in the military, stayed down in Texas after leaving the military. She got married and all that stuff. But she's just a wonderful woman. So Catherine, and she was a big Houston football fan.
Okay.
In her lifetime. So Catherine learned, that's so great. The Houston Colt 45.
I love that name.
50 years.
I love that name. That was a great name. But but like, I'm far more offended. The wrong word, but I'm far more like when people mistake the name of like the football team for the baseball team.
Oh yeah.
But the Colt 45, that's awesome.
Isn't that wonderful?
If I'm not mistaken, Joe Morgan began his career with the Houston Colt 45.
See? There you go.
That's great. Kudos to Catherine. That's awesome.
I think it's because you might not pay too much attention to baseball these days. That might have something to do with it.
It's probably 55 years back. So yeah, I would say that's a sound assessment.
It is. That's why I love it.
What a great name. And the one that the name change that I absolutely to this day hate is when the Washington Bullets became the Wizards.
Yeah.
It was the Bullet Train.
I know.
Yeah, the bull. You don't have to change. Like I can see. Okay, if the Cleveland Indians changed their name, we can sort of debate that. Like I can see both sides of that potentially, but it's the Bullet Train. If you think that they were named after a bullet that go, from a gun, you're an idiot. Mm-hmm. You don't deserve to have the name changed because you're offended by you being an idiot.
I'm glad you brought that up because it used to be my job when I was at Capitol Records, call as different people, Punch Andrews, Bob Seger's manager, and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Hey, how's our new single doing? Hey, man, #1 with a bullet. Nobody was going to get shot over it.
Yeah.
It was a bullet. It's fast moving. That's all that means.
Yes, exactly.
Why do people have to get so touchy about everything?
But the great thing about that was not only was the name of the basketball team what you just said, but it was literally after the train that moves fast. So it had nothing to do with anything that could be interpreted unless you're a moron about, and the team's like, well, we've got a lot of violence problems. The Washington Wizards is such a crappy name compared to the Bullets.
Yeah. And change the name of the train then, if it's really that big of a problem. Stop calling it a bullet train.
Yep.
Yeah. Or let's just all relax and allow the name to, like, we get offended by enough things that potentially are offensive without getting offended by things that you're just a moron and you don't understand what it means.
No doubt about it. I'm glad we got pissed off during the sports, though. That's all I have to say.
I always love to be worked up.
Me too.
There's Great way to start my day.
Everything else is going well?
Yes. Very good. Very good. It's that time of year. I love this because it's hot outside, but it's not as hot as July.
Right.
So like the temperatures are still hot, but it's not stifling hot. And we got baseball playoffs coming up. We got football now in full gear with college and pro.
Mm-hmm.
Hockey's about to start. Basketball will start. This is a great time of year.
No question about it. So I'm gonna segue to a news story because these are the kind of news stories I talk to you about anyway. Sure. And I don't want to go on with Chris and change what he wants to talk about and all the rest of it. But I was told last night, went out to dinner. Matter of fact, went to Gianni's, had a really good time. Met a bunch of really nice people.
Nice.
Well, people are starting to get friendly again. I mean, on the way out of the place, I held the door for this woman.
Yeah.
And the guy who was with the woman came over and hugged me basically and said, my God, that was so nice. Nobody does that anymore. Is that true that nobody holds doors anymore?
I think it's rare. And I think part of it is what I recall from the last couple of years is women at times get offended by it. Some do.
Why? I hold it for the man and the woman, not just the woman.
I do too. And you know what? I've never had, I hold doors a lot and I've never had a confrontation, a dirty look. It's always been fine. I've just heard this. So it might be BS that people get upset about it.
Well, no, one guy did get upset with me for holding the door because what do you think? I'm a cripple? I said, I think you're not supposed to use the word cripple, but I'm not sure. He got pissed off at me about that, but tough titty.
Yeah, you can't. You're right, though. Yep, that's a very old school word you cannot use now.
God, calm down, all of you pills. But I did want to get to this story. So we went to dinner with some good friends last night, had a wonderful time and all the rest of it, except for I found this out. Wayzata police are offering $1,000 reward in hopes a glass artifact stolen from a 9/11 memorial. This was stolen from a 9/11 memorial in a city park. They're hoping it'll be returned. Police believe the glass artifact was forcefully removed and stolen from a granite memorial in Panaway Park on August 29th, and only a small fragment left behind. The memorial stood in tribute to Gordy Amos Jr. I just talked about him yesterday on the show because Gordy Amos Sr. is a very good friend of mine. I love the guy. He's a great guy. And now somebody stole his son, who was lost in the 9/11 collapse of the first building. They never did find him, from what I understand. They projected that he probably got down into the lobby of the building, but that was as far as he got. Like I said, I don't think they ever found much of him, unfortunately. But what kind of world do we live in now where we're stealing memorials? The guy still lives. Gordy Ameth is my next door neighbor. He's just a wonderful guy. Gordy Ameth Jr., a Wayzata resident who died in the terrorist attack in the World Trade Center in New York City on September 11, 2001. Several items were inlaid on the top of the granite memorial, including a glass artifact recovered from the site of Ground Zero in the rubble. So they took a piece of glass from the actual building and made the artifact with it, and now somebody has stolen it. So it can't be replaced, obviously.
Right. Yeah. You can't be rebuilt.
It can't be rebuilt. Why? Explain to someone, why would you do that? And we're asking you, seriously, if you've got it, would you just go back and put it back? And I'll tell them to turn all the cameras off and everything. Why would you do that? I just don't get it. Cannot be replaced. It can be, fictionalized, I guess, and it still honors Gordy Jr. But
what are we doing? Like, to your point, what are we doing? Why? What are we? What are you thinking? What are you going to do with that?
Right.
Yeah. What are you going to do with it?
There's a lot of valuable stuff in the world. If you feel the need to steal something, like you're not going to go sell this on the black market for millions of dollars. You just caused pain and for another family, essentially, that's mourning their son.
Yeah.
And once again, Gordy Ameth Sr. is just a great guy. Just, known him for years and years. He's a phenomenal doctor, the whole deal. I mean, Gordy Sr. has suffered mightily with the loss of his son.
Oh God, I can't imagine.
He and his wife, battled through it for years and years and years now, almost a quarter of a century of battling through this. And now you pissed all over it by stealing the memorial.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't have any words for that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you're thinking. I don't know. As Tevin said, it's one thing to steal something that's valuable or like you can, but I mean, to a memorial like that, which is obvious what it is too, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, very obvious.
Like, it's not like I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
That's disgusting.
See, that's why I bring it up on this show, because I mean, that literally makes my heart hurt, because I didn't know Gordy Jr. I met him a couple of times, but I didn't know him. But his father and I have been friends for 25, 30 years. Been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
Nicest guy, great doctor, helps people out every chance he gets. He's just one of those very helpful, very kind people. And now you got to put him through this. Thanks.
It's incredible too, because we're now 23 years after the fact.
Yep.
23 years after the fact. It's incredible. Like, of all of the things in my lifetime, how raw that remains to me that day.
Yeah. It's so weird though that I just brought it up in the last couple of days.
Yeah.
And I don't think me bringing it up is what caused the guy to steal the memorial, because I didn't refer to the memorial. So, but it's just somebody being a pain in the ass. Don't you think? This is nothing about they're just trying to be an asshole.
Yeah. And it looks like, so on like the little memorial slab, slate slab, there's like glass, little square box looking thing and a cross. And he took he or she, I guess, took all three pieces of the memorial. So now it's just three empty spaces underneath the, Ameth family and friends memorial.
Why would you do that? I mean, I don't hate anybody enough to do that to them.
You got to be a real bad person to do that.
Yeah, you do. All right. Well, I'm glad I left you on such an up note, but
now I'm a little bit upset. That's really sad.
Noticed something about Uncle Tommy. Normally I would have lost my mind and been screaming by now and threatening people, but I'm laid back though. So, but it does piss me off to no end, and you need to put it back. And the word needs to get out through listeners of this show or whatever. You need to put it back. And that's all there is to it.
Yeah. I mean, no question about it. I just, those poor parents and those families of all those victims. I mean, I can't imagine, like, this is what always upsets me about like that, like the thing that we talked about a couple weeks back at Park Tavern is these poor people that go to work or go out just for fun and don't come home, and it's not explainable. A car accident, if you're in a car and you get in an accident and die, it sucks. I'm not saying it doesn't, but I guess I can wrap my head around that. But a drunk drives their car through a patio, and I can't, two planes flying into a building and thousands of people perish and don't come home. There's just certain things I can't mentally process.
Right. No, we can't. Nobody can. There's no doubt about that.
So,
all right, we'll turn to the other stuff. Bring home a winner this weekend with the Queens, because we'll talk to you again on Tuesday.
yeah, we'll talk about that, and hopefully we'll talk about a twin sweep of the Reds.
Oh, God. Let's get it done, Pally.
All right, guys. See ya. Have a good weekend.
You too. Judd Zulgad, SKOR North, ladies and gentlemen. Take a break. Be right back. Chris Egert will join us right after this. South Dakota is one of the most business-friendly states in the country. And there's no better place to settle down and take advantage of those incentives than in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's a great place. Never been there, you should go. As the state's largest city with a metro population of over 290,000, Sioux Falls has low business costs with a high quality of life. There's no state, corporate, or personal income tax. There's no inheritance tax. Inheritance taxes can get very expensive. No limits to what your business can achieve. Sioux Falls, South Dakota was recently ranked the #1 best small city for business and careers by Forbes, the #2 best state business tax climate by the State Tax Foundation, and the #5 top state for the e-commerce by Nexus. As one of the Midwest's fastest growing cities, Sioux Falls has a robust growing job market. No matter where you're at in your career, Sioux Falls had an opportunity waiting for you. Their city's tax-friendly climate and strong workforce, they don't go unrecognized, by the way. Forbes magazine named Sioux Falls one of the top small cities for business and careers each of the last 15 years. In 2020, Sioux Falls also ranked as the #4 best city for young professionals. So how does South Dakota stack up against other states? We rank second in the nation for the lowest cost of doing business, the most business-friendly state, and the best business tax climate. And as South Dakota's biggest city, Sioux Falls is at the center of these benefits. Now is the perfect time to make your move to Sioux Falls. Visit SiouxFallsDevelopment.com.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain, and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, well, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
Mike Lindell of MyPillow employees want to thank all our listeners for all your continued support. When Mike started MyPillow, it was just a problem solution, one product company. Well, since then, they now have hundreds of products some of you may not even know about. For example, the brand new 4-pack dish towel sets, just $25. 6-pack towel sets, just $25. Bed sheets for as low as $25. Check out their overstock and closeout sale and save up to 80% off select items. You're looking for a good night's sleep? Take advantage of the classic collection on a variety of MyPillows for as low as $9.88. These amazing offers won't last long, so order now. Just go to MyPillow.com or call 800-516-5146 and use promo code TOM.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
Channel 5's Chris Egert, brought to you by Mr. Money Talk Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. Mr. Egert, what's the latest?
Tomas, what's happening?
Just pissed off that somebody stole my buddy Gordy Yamath Jr.'s, Gordy Yamath Sr. is a friend of mine. Gordy Yamath Jr. is one that died in 9/11, and somebody stole his memorial.
Saw that. We had it in the news yesterday morning, in fact, and I was, I don't know. You got to think somebody knew what they were doing.
Yes.
To specifically take the things from that, right? Like, I mean, I could see like a random act of vandalism or spray painting something, but to specifically take that stuff, it's pretty ridiculous.
I don't know why people do things like that. I will never understand why they do things like that. But we are being taught in our school system and in our society to hate people if they don't agree with you. Well,
there's a lot of that going around, that's for sure.
I just don't understand why you want to teach hatred. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. And well, not somewhat related. There's a couple of schools that were had received some vague threats on social media, and St. Paul police, they're charter schools in St. Paul, But so they have police there this morning. They're still going to go do classes, I think. But yeah.
So what kind of school were these?
One of them, Hope Community Academy, Community School of Excellence. Oh, those will actually be closed. Hmong Prep Academy is still having classes, but they're the ones who are going to have police on campus. St. Paul Police. I don't know. I hope that stuff, you just never know with the crap floating around social media. You want to go, okay, it's just some kid saying, talking crap to try to get out of school that day. You assume that that's it, but then this kid who a couple weeks ago, the school shooter kid had said several times, and had, said he would shoot up a school or whatever. So
right.
I and that didn't seem to get taken seriously. And then you have something happen. So,
I mean, there you go again. So it was a Hmong school and sounds like a religious school. Is that correct? Yeah. So once again, we're targeting people who aren't like us. I'll say it again. I said it a long time, but 38 minutes ago. We need to assimilate, move toward one another. I know you all think assimilation is a horrible thing and a horrible word. It needs to happen. You target people because they're either, Hmong or they're religious. What are you, insane? But you don't believe what I believe. You don't think what I think. So therefore I have to harm you. What?
And I don't know how pointed the threat was, but I mean, to your point, you're not wrong.
Yeah, they always target people. They have to target somebody who's not like them, which means they're not all that locked in on how wonderful they think they themselves are.
What was I also going to tell you? If anybody's down by Mall of America today, you got to make your IKEA run, whatever it might be. They're going to be doing some emergency training exercises around the mall. So it might look like something, but it's not something. It's they're there. Because that is pretty. 9 times out of 10, I would never mention that, but because it's Mall of America, I don't know. You just get a little anxious if you see a bunch of cops or a bunch of police fire trucks or whatever there. So heads up.
Well, see, that's all. We always just follow your lead.
I don't know about that, but
well, you're not buying that we always follow your lead.
Yeah, I mean, and did you guys happen to catch some of the spacewalk this morning?
That looked fake to me. I'm sorry. It looked like some guy.
It looked like a movie because everything's so. I'm glad you said that because everything's so slick and sleek.
Yes.
Because it's SpaceX, it's not NASA, which the NASA stuff just looks more cumbersome and looks more wonky. And it did. It looked like a movie. It was weird.
All of a sudden, this black form moves across his. Yeah. Come on, really?
It was. It definitely looked. I said this morning, but right now there are 19 people in orbit around the Earth, which apparently is the most there's ever been at one time.
Sure.
Because you've got those people with SpaceX who are up there. You've got those stranded astronauts on the International Space Station. You've got some astronauts who are already supposed to be there. There's also some Russian cosmonauts and Chinese astronauts all up right now in orbit, which I guess is the first time that's ever happened, that many people. So
no, are we going to follow through with Twilight Zone where they crash back into Earth, but they think they're on another planet?
I don't know.
Remember all those episodes?
Yeah. Dude, Twilight Zone was such a great show.
It was.
I went back and I can't remember what streaming. It might have been on Netflix. I think it's on Netflix. I went back and just started randomly watching some of those a couple years ago. It is so good and still good today, I think.
Oh, yeah. No, you're absolutely. Look, my favorite episode is that one where they've crashed back in to another planet and how are we going to live? And it's all desert and it's just, oh, my God. And one guy says, well, you know what? I'll head out. I'll climb the mountain and see what I can see from up there. And maybe there's a way we can get out of here. It's going to be okay. And of course, at the very end, he gets to the top of the mountain, looks down at Las Vegas. So basically, when you were asleep at night, you didn't see all those flashing lights in the sky from the 9,000 neon lights in Las Vegas.
Right.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's such a good show. I think the black and white thing adds a timelessness to it too. I think it's pretty cool. So
Great actors. They got great actors on that show back in the day too. It was really good.
I remember the one that I remember the most is, I don't remember what the circumstance was, but somebody had a surgery and a face surgery, and the person was in a bandage the whole thing, and they were like, weren't they like setting it up like, oh, you're terribly disfigured, and I'm sorry when the bandages come off, you're gonna look a certain way, and blah 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 blah. And then the person takes the bandages off, and the person looks like a normal human being, and then everybody else takes off their surgical mask and stuff, and they have pig noses. It was crazy.
They all had pig noses. Yep.
AJ, you should go back and find that one, Tevin.
It's
so weird. It's so weird.
No,
I've seen the clip that you're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah. I had a science teacher in like middle school, and then he like transitioned to high school, and he would like on late or lazy days, he would like play Twilight Zone for the class. And so
that's cool.
I've seen a bunch of those. Yeah,
that is cool.
Remember this scene? It didn't work. It didn't work because he didn't have a pig nose.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The doctors were crying about it.
It's so good. So good. I know what I'm going to do today. I'm going to enjoy this nice, wonderful near 90 degree day in September by sitting inside in the air conditioning and watching Twilight Zone.
No humidity though. There's no humidity.
It's a dry heat.
Yep.
It's a dry heat.
Very dry heat.
Thank
you, sir.
Yeah. Have a good day, you guys.
You too. Channel 5's Chris Egert, brought to you by Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Call Josh today for your free 48-minute evaluation at 952-925-5608. He is not wrong. Twilight Zone, I still watch it to this day, and it's been on for 70 years or some damn thing since the 50s, right?
That sounds right.
I think that's right. But it is a really well-written, well-acted show. Some interesting spins. But the one stat about that show that I just found this out a couple of years ago. Rod Serling, the inventor of Twilight Zone, the head writer, the head producer, the whole deal, died very young. Smoked between 4 and 6 packs of cigarettes a day.
Jesus.
Holy Christ.
Like, how do you even have time?
120 cigarettes.
Like he sleeps with 3 of them lit in his mouth.
He'd have to.
That show was so good though.
Oh God.
I mean, it still is, frankly.
It is. Yep.
And like today, like the closest like modern day thing we have to that is maybe Black Mirror.
Yeah.
But even then, it's like still kind of different. But there's really just no duplicating the original Twilight Zone.
No.
There's more stupping on Black Mirror than there was on Twilight.
Yeah, there's a lot. Well,
and I mean, they hit you with it hard right out the bat with the whole pig one. Yeah.
And that's not with pig noses.
No.
No.
It's a whole pig body.
It's a pig body. It absolutely is. Why did he make him stup a pig again? I forgot.
It was like we kidnapped your
daughter
or something, and it was like the prime minister of England or queen of or prince of whatever, and
why don't we do that? We didn't force our politicians to stup a pig. That'd be good.
You lead the charge.
Yeah, Tom.
I'll let you start that one.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We'll take a break. Be right back in a couple of seconds, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Wellshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Care Facilities. Wellshire Alzheimer's and Dementia Memory Care Facilities are a place where your loved one will live with pride and dignity. If you care deeply about someone in your life, Wellshire is the place I highly recommend. Wellshire is a memory care focused facility. It has a full nursing team, always staffed with the building. They're right there within the building, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, too. They have never used or relied on any staffing agencies. Wellshire of Medina is now accepting elderly waivers after 12 months of private pay. I know them personally, and they are a family-owned local company conveniently located right in Medina and Bloomington. They are the best staffed memory care facility in the state. Wellshire has a robust community with activities 7 days a week. If your loved one is in need of a memory care facility, please get in touch with my friends at Wellshire. Set up a tour or learn more at wellshiremn.com. That's WEALSHIREMN.com.
Is that text you're sending so important that you missed your turn? Is that text you're sending so important that you ran the red light? Is that text you're sending so important you didn't see the ball coming onto the road or the child that followed? Hi, I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant. When you take your eyes off the road for even 4 seconds, your vehicle travels 100 yards. That's the entire length of a football field. If you absolutely have to text, you need to pull off the road somewhere safe and do it from there. Texting and driving is against the law and can cause serious injury or even death to you and others. Now that is important. We hope you're never injured in a collision, but if you are, please contact us.
Find Bradshaw and Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Going farther with Mike Bryant on your side, seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Austin Bartz of Bartz Lawn and Landscape and Bartz Snow Sculptures.
I started banking with North American, I think, 3.5 years ago. All the people know me by name. I know them by name. It's fun to come into the bank and actually talk to somebody you know. So I made the switch and I'm very happy. It's the best bank I've ever been at.
So why not bank where I bank? With my friends at North American Banking Company. To learn more about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com. That's nabankco.com, or do what I do and stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
It is indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Just all we do is deliver. We just deliver. I can just leave it at that. You think?
That's true. We're like we're like UPS. But
UPS.
Is that all they do? Do they do more than that? I don't know.
I have no clue. We'll find out though.
We're UPS, but only the part where they drop it off at your door. We deliver.
Indeed.
None of the shipping.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's St. Thomas football on 1500 ESPN and at 1500ESPN.com. It's another border battle as the Tommies welcome Black Hills State to O'Shaughnessy Auditorium. Pre-game, 12:30, kickoff at 1 o'clock. It is this Saturday, September 14th, just 2 days from now on 1500 ESPN and at 1500ESPN.com. What do you think of that action?
Should be a good one. Black Hills always gives the Tommies a tough go, so it should be a good matchup.
Do they, though? Until right now, I had no idea there was a Black Hill State University. Is this a new school? Is this like Chris Egert? Is he now emotionally torn with his son playing for the Tommies, but yet he's being a Black Hill advocate?
No, I bet he's standing by his son. You know, the Tommies purple, roll Toms.
Well, good for them. Good luck to St. Thomas. I just didn't know there was a Black Hills State University.
Tom, have you ever worked with Corbu Status? He does the announcing for the games on ESPN. Have you ever worked with him before?
I think we had him on the show. I think
he's a great guy. I think you would love him.
I don't know if the guy I'm thinking of was a very nice guy. I don't know if it was him or not. I'll find out. Okay. I'll find out what the hell the deal is. I'll also find out when the ragweed's all going to die so I don't have to clear my throat constantly. Honestly, God, that ragweed kicks my ass. It's amazing. If I go for my walk in the morning, I always sneeze when I get back indoors.
And then when you head back south, are you going straight to the Melaleuca, or do you get a little of a buffer?
Oh, yeah, no. Then it'll be the Melaleucas down there, and I'll be, you know what else happened? Jesus, unbelievable. But what are you going to do? One of the top stories, local newspaper in Minnesota. I still can't get used to calling it the Minnesota Star Tribune, because it was the Minneapolis Star and the Minneapolis Tribune. Then it was the Minneapolis Star Tribune. Now it's the Minnesota Star Tribune. Well, I understand they need a statewide reach. I understand that, but I just can't get used to saying Minnesota Star Tribune.
No.
I grew up the other way. At sentencing for murder of transgender woman, state leaders call for an end to hateful rhetoric. That's exactly what we've been talking about. We're calling for an end to hateful rhetoric across the board. Both political parties make it worse. All of our news media makes it worse to try to make money, of course. Yeah, we need to stop with the hateful rhetoric across the board. Let people be who they are. And if you don't like them, just leave them alone. And why would you want to waste all your energy on hating someone like that anyway? I mean, seriously, if they have nothing in common with you, move on. Right?
Right.
Yeah, it baffles me each and every day when I see somebody that gets like super worked up over how somebody wants to, identify or who like its sexual orientation stuff. It's just like, it doesn't really impact you, man.
No.
First off, you're probably not their type.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to go out of and then also the other side of things, like it's not impacting your day whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
It having that kind of hate in your heart is just, to me, very weird and a giant waste of energy.
No, you walk past a million different types of people every day and nothing ever happens to you. You're able to go to work, get home just fine. Like, unless they're causing physical violence towards you, really doesn't have anything to do with you.
And yeah, I just don't understand why this continues. There were many labels that fit Savanna Williams. She was a magnet and a beacon of warmth who could draw anyone in. Her mother said she was the center spoke of her family and community, said the prosecutor. She was also a transgender woman of color, shot point blank in the head and left to die in Minneapolis courtyard last November. Her killing led to questions over what constitutes a hate crime in Hennepin County. On Wednesday, Demarion, she was killed by Mr. Bible. Oh, Jesus.
Maybe it's Bibble.
Yeah, maybe. I hope it's Bibble. Demarion Bible, who was sentenced to 30 years in prison for murder, in the victim impact statements read inside Hennepin County District Court. The people who loved Williams painted an encompassing picture of her life. Afterward, county and state officials said hateful rhetoric against transgender people, including by former President. Oh, my God. Including by former President Donald Trump. They have to get political, don't they? Is robbing them of their safety and leading to these crimes. Savannah's mother, Kim Stillday, said her daughter was her best friend, a daily presence who would give gifts out of the blue and light up any room she walked into. Savannah still lives on, she said, and began to sob. Her memory makes us laugh and smile. I want to know more about this guy that killed her.
Yeah,
you know who have you seen this guy, the guy who killed her?
I have not, but I'm trying to find. There was an article on it where, because he, like you said, got 30 years, but yeah, I haven't seen or heard anything about him. It's mostly just been about the victim.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it. What says Bible never denied killing Williams. What exactly happened between them on a cold November morning last year remained murky throughout his arrest and trial because his story kept changing. The two men had met at a bus stop, and surveillance video showed him walking into a courtyard near Lake Street with Williams. Only Bible walked out. Williams was found with a single gunshot wound. She had been shot at close range. At one point, Bible said Williams tried to rob him of his watch.
According to, looks like KSTP, Kyle Brown did a story yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And according to him, that Bible, they crossed paths, yes, at the bus stop, like you're saying, where Williams asked if he was interested in sex. They went into a courtyard, and once they were finished, Bible said Williams was making him suspicious, and so he shot her.
Making him suspicious of what?
It doesn't say. My guess is he probably found out that person was transgender, and
wouldn't you know that when you?
Yeah, I mean, after the fact, maybe there's more. Am I battling my own sexuality here?
Oh, yeah,
type
maybe.
of thing. And yeah,
I have a question for you. Have you seen a picture of Mr. Bible? I have not seen his picture anywhere in the story.
Yes.
What does he look like?
He looks like he's in rough shape.
What does he look like? Is he tall, thin?
No, he's like kind of, I guess, a little chunky looking, tattoos on his arm.
Okay. And what's the color of his skin?
I mean, he's black. I don't know what that has to do with.
Well, because they brought up the victim's color of their skin. If you're going to do it, you got to do it.
I mean, yeah, but if he's white or
that's what I'm saying.
It doesn't make the story any better or worse if he's white.
That's not the issue. The issue is if you're going to bring up race, you got to bring up race. But we never do. And I'm not saying, that it's all important to me at all, but you're the one who brought it up at the newspaper. So why don't you bring it all up? They always have to hide a part of the story. It's not the fact that he's black that I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. It's these people that have an agenda and will not tell the whole truth about a story. I just don't understand why that is the case. So, these are things that just piss me off to no end. There's no question about it. Somebody gets killed for what reason? Who the hell knows? So they're saying that she hit on him.
Yeah, it sounds like they had sex.
Well, they did have sex.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then at some point in that process, he probably went into it thinking it was a woman, and then found out it was transgender, and then got angry, and then it ended in, because a point blank shot to the head is a very emotionally charged way to go out.
Yeah, there's no question about it. I'll never. Oh yeah, there's a picture of Mr. Bible now. I look at his picture. Kind of smug looking, don't you think? Got a look in his face like, yeah, what are you looking at?
He doesn't look friendly.
No, he does not look friendly. You're absolutely right about that. Yeah, it's just the horrible, all the murders going on now, and across the world, not just the United States, not just the state of Minnesota. The world is getting more violent, and I'm telling you, it's for the very reason we've been talking about this morning. The hatred that has come out of people's mouths at a higher percentage and a higher rate than all time. We are being taught to hate one another. Why would we follow those lessons?
Yeah, I mean, because that's the easiest way to get somebody to kind of unionize and, do you also hate this person? Well, now we can, group together and try to make a change, or you should be on my side as opposed to that side. And so hate drives pretty much everything that goes on today, it feels like.
Yeah, well, it does feel like that. You're absolutely right. And I wish it would stop. There's no question about that. We need to start treating everybody. Once again, do I give a rat's ass if you're a Democrat or a Republican, what your skin color is, what your orientation is? I have never cared about that, but I've been accused of caring about that. How was that fair?
I mean, I would say it's not fair.
Not at all. And they knew that it was not true, but they still used it to try to harm someone. Why do you want to harm people so much that you would do something like that?
Yeah, well, I mean, it makes you feel better about yourself, because you can go, that person's terrible. And so maybe now if I'm not happy with my job or my life situation, now I can feel a little bit better about myself.
Yeah, maybe we should let people be who they are. This person, I guess, started out as a man, became a woman. That's how it all happened.
Yep.
Okay. Well, isn't that kind of their business?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd think so.
You would think so. I don't really understand it, and I never will.
Yeah. Mr. Bibles, just don't have sex with people that you met at a bus stop.
Yeah, I see. I've never done that. I've never stooped somebody at a bus stop before, so I'm kind of happy that I've done that now. I got to be honest with you. No question about it. You hop in the sack and there's an extra package in there and you didn't know it. Then you go, you know what? I made a bad call here, and boy, look at the time. I got to get to work. All right, we got to take a break. Be right. But seriously, ladies and gentlemen, the hatred has got to stop, and it's on all sides, not just one side, two sides. It's on all sides. I wouldn't waste a minute hating anybody. It just tears your heart out. It just does. We'll be back in a couple of minutes more right after this. Deborah Roberts. When you go to a restaurant, you expect the chef to be an expert. You expect your auto mechanic to be an expert when it comes to fixing your car. You judge them both by the results of their work. Josh Arnold is an expert in investments and planning your financial future. Josh Arnold is my expert, and he should be yours too. I talk to Josh every week, and he understands the market and the economy, and he knows how to plan for your retirement. Don't put it off another day. The man with your plan is Josh Arnold. Call Josh now for a no-obligation 48-minute evaluation. You've got nothing to lose, and you'll have an expert planning and managing your financial future. Call Josh at 952-925-5608. That's 952-925-5608. Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC Security Investment Advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice. Tom Barnard is a paid endorser.
The past several years have been the craziest in the history of the car business. The pandemic, supply chain and chip issues, all causing extreme inventory shortages that led to, predatory pricing. Some dealers charge thousands of dollars over MSRP.
We never played that game. I'm Jim Paul of Valley Buick GMC. We knew that would leave a bad taste in a customer's mouth. More importantly, from an integrity standpoint, it was just wrong.
So what about the current market? Inventory and pricing.
Valley has their best inventory in years. Really all the Buick and GMC models. Even the previously hard-to-find Yukons, HD pickups, and Hummer EVs. Plenty of deep discounts. Many with factory rebates and low-interest financing.
Then it's a good time to buy?
It's a great time. We're welcoming our previous customers back, as well as anyone else that felt the treatment just didn't feel right the last time somewhere else.
Valley Buick GMC in Apple Valley and Hastings, or valleycardealers.com. Car buying without the bad aftertaste.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast. Listen live weekday mornings 8 to 9:30 or anytime you like as a podcast on the Tom Barnard app at tombernardshow.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
You damn right, ladies and gentlemen. Deborah's ready to go. Deborah Roberts, our special guest. How you doing, Deborah?
I'm good. How are you?
Marvelous, as a matter of fact. The weather here has been amazing. It's been in the 80s, but no humidity, so a great way to go into and come out of September. No doubt about it.
I so agree with you. We've been having the same thing here in New York. Put you in a good mood.
No question about it. Deborah Roberts has a big 2020 episode this Friday. 2020 airs Friday, September 13th on ABC. Next day on Hulu, of course. Ashley Benefield to tell her story, an exclusive interview with Deborah Roberts on ABC News 2020, former ballet dancer at the center of the so-called Black Swan Trial. That's as far as I'll go, the Black Swan Trial, because after that, you need to tell the story, Deborah.
Yeah, this is a story we've been following for a few years since it first broke down in Sarasota, Florida. And yeah, it's a nod. The local media dubbed it the Black Swan Trial, a nod to the hit movie years ago with Natalie Portman about a killer ballerina. Ashley Benefield was a ballet dancer and was obsessed with ballet. She and her husband had actually formed a ballet company. She was that much enthused about it. She had met her husband years before. They hit it off. They got married within 13 days and knowing each other. She said she'd met her soulmate. So how is it she winds up killing him, charged with murder? That's what we wanted to know. This case was playing out in local media and really national media there for a while, with so many people fascinated by this young woman who was a mom, who was charged with murder. She was wearing an ankle bracelet when we first met her. And for the very first time, Ashley Benefield sat down to tell her story with us just as she was about to go to trial, essentially trial for her life, because she could be sentenced to prison for life. Her young daughter was there with her while we interviewed her, and she tells us what happened in this relationship and how tumultuous it became. And it is the first time to hear from her how this all played out, and we will give you all those details. A lot of twists and turns in this story about how they met and where their life took them up to South Carolina and then down to Florida, and just how it all played out. It's a fascinating 2020.
Deborah, how long were they together before he was killed?
A little under 2 years. They got married. She got pregnant. She had a baby. She moved to Florida. They had split up. He came down to Florida. He wanted to be a part of the child's life. And in less than 2 years of their relationship, they were thinking about somehow reconciling for their daughter. And that was what surprised, I think, so many people. They were actually planning to move to Maryland together, where he was taking a new job. And just before that all happened, he shot dead. It's a story that, you hear from family members. You hear from Benefield's daughter, who was really just a few years younger than Ashley when her father married her. And you hear from her, you hear from his brother, you hear from the prosecutors in this case about why they feel that Ashley Benefield was not the woman that she portrayed herself to be. Just a really, really interesting story that we have an opportunity to bring in an all new 2020 on this Friday.
Deborah, you talk to psychologists about why she may have done. I mean, obviously, she was very needy to find someone that she could fall in love with after 13 days. That's a pretty short period. But also on the other side of that, you go at it so quickly, and then you find out later maybe it didn't fit the glove as well as you thought it would, and that makes you very angry. It sounds like she's a very needy person. Is that part of it?
Well, I don't know that would be fair to describe her as needy, because according to her, Doug was pressing her. Let's get married. Let's get married. And this was, she didn't. So in her mind, this was a man who pursued her and, convinced her within a few, days that we are sort of meant to be, and it became just so whirlwind. So I don't know that we can lay it off on her as being needy. I think between the two of them, there was plenty of toxicity to go around. You're also going to hear from an expert, a domestic violence expert in the case, who essentially tells you that Ashley was an abused woman, and that she represents a number of women who may be underneath the, behind the scenes, suffering in silence, and people don't know it. And that is the story that Ashley tells, that she was living a life that was really just tumultuous and that she was being abused. That was the way she describes her life. And so you will hear from her about how she could have jumped into a relationship so fast, how she could have had, a child with this man, how she could have been thinking about a future with this man when she says everything went so terribly wrong.
And went so terribly wrong, obviously, very quickly. I mean, they were only got a two full year. I mean, that thing must have fallen apart immediately.
Yeah, it did fall apart pretty immediately. In fact, she says within, weeks and months of being together, she began to see a different side of him. It actually did go south pretty quickly. But she says that she sort of did what a lot of women do, which is, I said a couple of years, and I want to correct myself too, because they were actually together off and on. They broke up, but by the time he was killed, it was, about 4 years later. But yeah, she tells a story of, that she says she was like a lot of women, tried to put a good face on something that was not working. She tried to suffer through this marriage to try to make it work, and certainly after she had a child. So she says she represents the battered woman who was just trying to make it through life and just had her, finally just was at her wit's end when she felt she was being threatened. And you'll have to decide when you see our 2020, whether you feel like this is a woman who really felt that her life was threatened. Is that why she had to kill her husband? Or was this something that was a plan all along, as prosecutors allege?
As a father and a grandfather, I have to ask, how did the child end up? The child okay?
Well, her child is fine. Unfortunately, Ashley's mother was very much involved in her life, and so she moved to join her mom in Florida. Her daughter had lived with her and her mom while we were doing this story, but her mother was there for her and for her granddaughter. So her daughter, who was this very bright little girl, obviously has family there, but to actually have her mother facing a prison sentence could not have been easy for any of them.
No question. I only have 1 minute, and I mean this in a very positive way, that I met my wife 44 years ago. We've been married for 40 years. I just told her 2 days ago I've never loved her more than I do now, but after hearing stories like this unhappiness, I guess I'm even happier than I thought I was. It's just so sad. All these relationships, that's just terrible relationships or whatever comes from this. But because I think I look at it the way you do, that if somebody was doing that to my sister, I would support her shooting the guy to get away. I just, any way you can get away from somebody abusing you would work for me.
And that becomes the question in this story. Was she an abused woman, or was she a manipulative woman who wanted out of a relationship and wanted her husband out of it? That becomes the key question in this case. And I think that's why it has fascinated so many people. So 2020, all new on Friday night. And I would love to know what your audience thinks.
Well, yeah, you need to come back on, Deborah. This is a great story and very, very interesting story. And I will be watching. Thank you.
Thank you. Of course, always a pleasure to be with you.
Thanks very much, Deborah Roberts, ladies and gentlemen. 2020 on ABC. So, yeah, what?
I would say, and this case is very fascinating. I know she was kind of pressed for time, so we couldn't keep her too long. But there's in like the trial, I guess the husband has a history of domestic violence. Like they found a text from an alleged text from his previous wife or fiance or girlfriend, where she asks him like about why you were kicking me on our honeymoon in New York. Jesus. And I guess he held a gun to his own head at one point in the relationship. So it sounds like, it's not as clear cut as just I grabbed a gun and shot somebody. It was, he might have had a history of doing some nefarious things.
And she said they got married after how long?
13 days.
Yeah.
I know. I don't.
Maybe that was the first red flag, everybody.
Yeah.
Let's give it at least maybe a few months. Minimum. Just to be safe, Yeah.
Hey, you've been talking to my father and mother-in-law, even though they're no longer with us?
Yeah, I was actually seeing them this morning.
I knew that's what it was. Like, Kathy tried to talk Catherine out of it, but I don't know what happened. That whole, what amazed me about that, the kind of story the most, is the fact that this woman probably must not have had a brother, must not have had a father, whatever. If I ever heard that someone laid a finger on my sisters, my mother, my wife, my daughter, I could not stop seeing red until that person was pummeled.
Yeah, I agree. But I would also say, like, if she is the manipulative sort, like it's it's something that you're going to have to, look at watch 2020 and kind of come to your own conclusion on. If she has kind of had the manipulative and like boy who cried wolf type thing in past relationships, maybe she mentioned that to a family member and they're like, well, hopefully it gets better, because they're just, and this is still wrong, but like they're kind of over the, we don't know whether or not you're actually telling the truth, because the last guy, we loved Jason. Jason was terrific. And now after a while you said he was the problem and whatever and all this stuff. And now it's Robert, and Robert is doing the same stuff. And it seems like there's a pattern here. And so I'm going to be excited to watch this tomorrow.
No, I agree with you 100%. Is it really hard to tell? Because I was just thinking about this situation, the guys that I grew up with and all the rest of it, at least to my knowledge, not one of them ever abused their wives, ever hit their wives, ever, did that kind of thing. Is that kind of thing usually held under the clouds, that you never learn about it, even though although you would see marks and bruises on the woman, I would imagine.
Well, I know there's a lot of
like I tripped and fell down the stairs.
Yeah, it's that, and the threat of like, if you do share your experience, possibly something worse happens. And a lot of victims, unfortunately, just because of that, like due to they don't know maybe what, like if they share it, is it going to get better, or there's the possibility it gets worse? And, and that stuff. So a lot of victims, unfortunately, find out like don't actually bring up stuff until it's very, very late. Similar to why people end up staying, because it's like, well, you never know what's on the other side of the fence, because I know what I have now, unfortunately, and there's just that scaredness. But it's just so weird to me that if you really dislike somebody that much, to like stay in the relationship with them, like you're not doing yourself any favor, you're not doing them any favors, obviously. If you really can't stand them, just break it off.
It might
the
be
relationship,
time.
not anything else. Sorry, that was poor phrasing.
Snap off the schwanz every chance you get. There's no question about it. Well, like I said, I've told many people, I have proof that I've never pissed off Catherine because I'm still alive.
There you go.
A good way to put it.
And if you ever came in with like a black eye, I'd be like, what'd you do?
Why'd you
piss off Catherine?
Isn't it amazing? You look at it and it's like how lucky you can be in a relationship. Catherine and I have never had any of these problems. There's no Catherine and I got in an argument once, and the kids unfortunately heard some of it. Like 5 years later, Andy goes to me, remember that time when you and Mom almost got divorced? I'm like, what? Are you
You're like, we couldn't decide where we wanted to eat.
She wanted Chili's and I wanted Applebee's. And boy, we were at each other's throats.
I'm like, settle down, for Christ's sake. Relax, pal. We shall take a break. Be right back. Kristen Burt will join us. You got a lot to talk about this morning, from what I understand.
Yeah, she's usually got a packed report, so I'm excited.
She's very good at her job, don't you think? She's not listening right now, is she? Damn it.
She might be. But she might just be working on some other stuff. Have us mute.
That is
so
true.
It's possible. You can say whatever you want. You don't know if she's going to hear it or not.
She's another one. I cannot see any man ever abusing KB2 because she could kick their ass probably, I think. Get a little fist fight. The guy loses. Ha ha. Kristen Burt with us right after this. Why should your business bank with North American Banking Company? Here's Austin Bartz of Bartz Lawn and Landscape and Bartz Snow Sculptures.
I started banking with North American, I think, 3.5 years ago. All the people know me by name. I know them by name. It's fun to come into the bank and actually talk to somebody you know. So I made the switch and I'm very happy. It's the best bank I've ever been at.
So why not bank where I bank? With my friends at North American Banking Company. To learn more about North American Banking Company, go to nabankco.com. That's nabankco.com, or do what I do and stop by any one of their 6 Twin Cities locations. Member FDIC, equal housing lender.
When you need someone to listen, a lawyer you know and trust.
If you've never been in an auto accident, it's hard to know what to expect from the insurance adjuster. Here are some tips. 1, if they talk to you about whether or not you should hire a lawyer, it's a good sign that you probably should. 2, it's illegal for them to give you any legal advice. They aren't lawyers and they aren't licensed to practice law. 3, if they tell you that everyone involved in the accident is at fault, they're wrong. This comes from the belief that you're at fault for just being on the road. That's nonsense and not supported by any law. Finally, remember that friendly adjusters are often just gaining information. They want you to do most of the talking so they can file their report. I'm Mike Bryant from Bradshaw & Bryant. I hope you're never injured in a collision. But if you are, don't sign anything until you've talked to us.
Find Bradshaw & Bryant, personal injury attorneys at minnesotapersonalinjury.com.
Seeking justice for the injured. Bradshaw and Bryant.
I hosted my show on the radio for 40 years. Now I host the Tom Barnard Podcast. And I'll tell you, I've never seen the passion and engagement from our audience as I do now. I know we also have businesses that listen to our podcast, and it got me thinking, wouldn't it be great to help those businesses grow by telling my listeners about them? So here's the deal. If you own or handle marketing for a business, would like to have my audience buy your product or service, visit TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and we'll put together an ad campaign to help your business. That's TomBarnardShow.com, keyword partner, and thank you for listening.
This is the Tom Barnard Podcast.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen. The Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. It's your fault. I watched that special last night and I got depressed as hell.
Oh, you did watch it?
I did, yes.
Did it bring back memories?
Oh, absolutely it did. It brought back that day 23 years ago. That made it very clear in my mind again. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting though. I mean, because that's a part of history. And I think that for anyone broadcasting that day, as things are unfolding and also trying to process, I remember my own sort of thoughts on all of that, of trying to process an actual plane going into a building. I can wrap my brain around it now because I understand what happened, but in the moment, and then when the buildings disappear, when you're trying to process that in real time and also inform people over the radio or on TV, that must have been extraordinary.
It was a hell of a day, I'll tell you that. There's no question about it, because we all sat there and just couldn't believe it was happening. But, and again, we were the first show in America that called it what it was. Everybody else thought it might have been an accident or that. No, that was not an accident.
What made you think, though, it was terrorism? I think some people were probably hesitant to call it terrorism.
Yeah, they
right
were.
Off the bat. But what made you go, wait a minute? I mean, because when we first thought it was a commuter plane, that hole was pretty big for a commuter
That's
plane.
exactly what it was. The hole in the building was way too big for it to be either a private or a commuter plane. It was gigantic, that hole in that building.
It was enormous. And those buildings were enormous. For anyone who had the opportunity to visit, you understand the footprint. I mean, the footprint is obviously still there with the Freedom Tower and all the memorials down there. But at the time, that was like out of the box, groundbreaking architecture when those were built.
Yep. No, we already talked about being in the top of the world restaurant there for all those things.
Windows on the world. That will stick with me forever. It will always stick with me.
It was very cool, though, going up 8,000 stories in an elevator. I will tell you that. It took a while.
Especially for the person. Well, and the other thing, and if you watch some of the documentaries and see it, it's not all just like go straight up to the express elevator. It is like you go up to like 30 floors and then you get off on a platform and then you go up to the next set of elevators, the next set of elevators. And that's for people who chose to take an elevator down, if they could. That held up some people in terms of their escape plan. And, obviously the stairs were very busy too, but understanding that you'd have to go to a level and then wait for another elevator. Cause they were like, I want to say like maybe 4 or 5 on each side, but still if an entire building is evacuating, it's not easy.
No question about it. And I had this stuck in my brain now because of, the situation, but, we were going to the Hancock building in Chicago. There's a restaurant up on like the 90th floor or something like that. And we're up there eating. And I'm just, using the vernacular I grew up with and all the rest of it. The woman comes over. She said, "Do you need anything else?" I said, "Nah, it's all right. You can just bring the check. I need to hit the bricks." She goes, "What?" And I said, "I got to go." She said, "That's not what you said." I said, I got to hit the bricks. It means I got to leave. She goes, "I want you to know that somebody jumped off this building yesterday." I'm like, "Oh, Jesus, what are the chances that?" I had no idea. Yeah, somebody jumped off the top of that building the day before.
I can't. Well, did you see the happy story? This is a happy story.
Good. We need a happy story. That's wonderful.
It starts off with someone trying to jump a bridge in Nashville, but did you see who rescued them?
John
Bon Jovi and I think it was a production assistant because he was filming a music video. I thought that was nice. And, hopefully it gave someone maybe that was thinking that they're in a bad place. Maybe that gave them a little bit of hope too, that the choice of life is definitely worth it. And there's always people willing to help and reach out.
Yeah. And I guess he's actually trained in like crisis management.
Really?
Because of he has a foundation that the name escapes me, so I apologize, but he helps out like homeless people and people that are going through kind of rough situations. So he's actually like trained to help people kind of de-escalate situations and then in this case, save them from jumping off a bridge.
What are the odds of that? Like what?
Oh, so slim.
Like you're deciding to jump off a bridge and then you just pick the day, the time, and the place where Bon Jovi and his production assistant are going to be just strolling by, and they just happen. Bon Jovi just happens to have an organization where he has to have like de-escalation and that type of training in order to like diffuse a situation and stop you from ending your life. Like the odds of that are insane.
Like he was filming a music video.
Yeah.
Filming a music video. But that is your guardian angel. That is the universe telling you this is not the right decision. Like we want you to live. And I hope that, that person should become a public speaker because they would have such an amazing motivational message and very inspiring, honestly.
Very quickly, this is our listenership, ladies and gentlemen. I just looked at my phone and they want to know because he helped reach for the person and bring them over the railing. Two people. He was one of John Bon Jovi. They want to know when he got her on the other side and her feet were on the bridge, if he said to her, I guess you were living on a prayer.
I'd ask him to sing it. I'd be like, a private concert.
Good thing they were only halfway there.
Yeah,
halfway there.
He reached his hand out. He said, "We'll make it, I swear."
So that all three of us.
That is a good tune.
It is a good song. It
still hits. I also want to say the Bon Jovi family. They're like even his kids are really nice. I've worked with Jesse Bon Jovi. They have a Hamptons Rosé brand, and he's come out and done some promotional events in Los Angeles. And they are just the whole family is really just good people, good New Jersey, like good hearts, give back. And I like that because we hear too many stories of, brats in the industry, and his kids are not brats.
Well, a very quick story for you. Well, did you ever work with John Lastman? Do you know that name? I don't know him though. He was at KQ for years and years and years. Did the character called the Chucker. Just a brilliant deal that he did. But when he was living in New York at God, I can't remember the name of the radio station. This guy from New Jersey came to him and said, I got a new album. Could you just give me a listen? Blah, blah, blah. Lastman listened to it. I loved it. And to this day, Bon Jovi gives Lastman credit for breaking him. How cool is that?
Oh, that's nice.
I mean, he didn't have to say that Lastman was the one that but as a matter of fact, he even invited Lastman to the Hall of Fame dinner.
Oh, see?
Very cool.
I don't think people have a bad story about Bon Jovi in general.
No.
Maybe during his crazy, like early 80s partying years, but maybe they trashed your hotel room or something. But I feel like people in general have very good interactions with him.
Yeah, that's what I understand. He's a very, very nice. I never met him myself, but I like his music, no question about it. And what he did yesterday is fantastic.
Yeah, the JBJ Soul Foundation is his foundation that required him to get this training. And I guess that bridge actually was named after somebody else who had prevented a different person from jumping back in 1950.
I see. It's a bridge of guardian angels is what it is. That's what I think.
I was going to take credit for the first one, but it happened a year before I was born, so I can't.
Damn it. We're like, you're going to want to stick around because this radio guy, he's about to be born.
That's exactly what it is. But no, so that's nice to hear. I mean, people actually caring about one another. Hey, a lot of stars, and you know this better than I do, Kristen Burt, would have never risked their careers and their lives reaching over a railing to grab somebody. A lot of people would never have done that. Don't you
know
think?
who would have Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is a great guy. He's a very
He is. He's like the nicest guy in Hollywood, and everyone is always like, "I've got a good Keanu Reeves story." I'm like, find me someone who has a bad Keanu Reeves story, because I don't think it exists.
Speaking of Lastman, there's an interview that Lastman did as the Chucker with him, and it's hilarious. We should probably play that at some point, track it down and play it at some point, because his stuff was very, very good. The first time I ever heard him interview a rapper, I can't remember who the hell it was, but the Chucker is interviewing a rapper, and after about 3 sentences, the Chucker goes, "I don't know if we can continue with this interview. We're going with all that Ryman Simon stuff." I thought it was just fabulous. Ryman Simon, really? So what else is happening in Hollywood?
Well, so many things. I have a whole list, and I was like, where do we even start? I want to start on this, because I think I'm going to put this out there. Pamela Anderson's having a comeback. I think she's going to get nominated for an Oscar.
Really?
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
so she's doing a movie called The Last Showgirl. It'll be out for you guys. It might not come until like early 2025. It'll be out here in Los Angeles, probably in time for award show season for all the nominations, because it has to be out before December 25th. But she plays a showgirl whose Vegas show closes after 30 years, and what her life is like after. The film's directed by Gia Coppola, so Francis Ford Coppola's granddaughter.
Right.
And it co-stars, you've got Billie Lourd, which is Carrie Fisher's daughter, Debbie Reynolds' granddaughter. You've got Jamie Lee Curtis in it.
Ooh.
So everybody who's seen this movie is like, it is unbelievable. We've never seen anything like this for Pamela Anderson. And in some of the interviews, which I think is really interesting, she said that her old agent, let's put that out there. Oh, we're having an earthquake.
What?
Wait, what?
I'm having an earthquake.
Oh my gosh,
I
you're
just see
shaking.
You're
Oh my
shaking.
gosh.
Do you have to get under a desk?
I think I'm okay. It looks pretty small. Let me look at it.
Oh, that is so much.
It was a 5.0.
I'm freaking out. Like, what do I do?
It's a 5.0. I'm okay.
Oh, wait.
Oh,
Five-
it's only a
I thought
5.0.
5.0
okay.
was like the worst.
Is Bill okay?
No, Bill is already out of the house, so hopefully he's okay.
Oh my God.
He's already at work. So
It just almost died.
God, you're
inside.
honestly, God, you should go.
How are you this calm?
Yeah.
What's a bad
because
one?
I will tell you that so
Man.
I feel like I need to I just need to calm down.
So wound up.
Did you see that? I was
Honestly,
like,
no.
oh, we're having an earthquake.
You're going
You
like
said that so nonchalantly, and all of a sudden, like your camera just started like. Ooh.
Will you guys please clip this, because I think it's
Yeah.
too great
Oh,
not to
this
put
is
out here. So first of all, I think where I start getting nervous about earthquakes, and I'm being very serious about this, is like the high 6s, low 7s. About it was pre-pandemic, so I want to say somewhere around 18, 19. We did have and it wasn't here in California, it was in Las Vegas, but it was so big we felt it here. We had about a 6.8, and then we had an aftershock of 7.1, and that one was scary. And I always pick up my phone first. I don't know why, but you heard the earthquake alarm go off too, so it gives you time to go under a desk. But my condo building is built on rollers, so it's kind of like you're on the ocean a little bit. But that one rocked a lot, and that one rattled me a little bit. I don't have any cats in my room here, but usually they feel it a second before I do.
Oh, sure.
And they walk like a crab. They go flat, and their paws don't go forward. They go out sideways because they want to get low to the ground.
Low to the ground, baby.
But I am safe. Hopefully we won't have an aftershock, but
Honest to God, all of a sudden you started bouncing up and down. I was like, what's she exercising while she's on the show?
it took a moment for you guys to all register. I'm like, oh, we're having an earthquake. And then you're like,
All right.
what?
I felt like I needed to go actively do something. Should I get under the desk as well as a sign of support?
And I'm talking about Pamela Anderson and being so great and like getting maybe an Oscar nomination. I will
say she's gonna shake the ground with this performance.
Yeah, see?
That's right. See, it's the world telling us it's going to happen. But her old agent, turned the project down and said, "You're not going to do this." And she's like, "No, I think I can do this." So she got a new agent, CAA, which is like one of the top agencies. and she's out there. She's possibly going to get an Oscar nomination, or she'll at least be in the award show mix. And she just feels like, I think Hollywood's so hard on women, maybe over 50. Some women probably will say over 40. And for her, I just think it feels really empowering, and people are like raving about her. And I love it because, you know, she really came from a place where people did her wrong in the industry, and a stolen sex tape really probably took her career in a different direction than maybe she wanted it to go. And she kind of took a step back from the spotlight because of it.
Shake it up, baby, shake it up. I'm never going to get over this. I've never interviewed someone who started shaking up and down and not on purpose. I was like, what? That was quite you know what? Honest to God, thank you for being so tough on that one, because if you had reacted, you know, by screaming and running out of the room, I'd be terrified. But you sat there and just took it like a woman.
The nice thing is I am at a really solid oak desk every morning. So if there is something very scary and we're broadcasting again and you see me duck, you know that we're at like a 6.8 or above.
Yes. I will know that.
But because you're supposed to, when you do have a big earthquake, you're not supposed to go in a doorway. That's old school method. You're supposed to go under a heavy piece of furniture. And I've got a couple of really good pieces of furniture that are like solid. So this is one of them. So I know I'm in a safe spot.
God, after all these years, the first time I've ever experienced someone on video going through an earthquake.
Yeah.
I'm here to deliver unique experiences for you guys.
Yes. Yeah,
do not call me boring. Do not call me, you know, run-of-the-mill entertainment reporter. I bring you the full LA experience every damn day.
You do.
This might be like one of the best weeks for you ever. Coconut cake, Tom Cruise,
yes.
Earthquake. What's tomorrow? How are you going to close out the week?
We're going to talk tomorrow.
Wow.
I don't know. I got so much feedback over the coconut cake. Like people, your listeners are at like, and I put the video up on TikTok. I put a couple of things up on Instagram, but if anyone wants to see the full like taste test and everything, but and I gave Bill his piece. He wasn't able to have it on debate night. So I brought him back a piece and he was like, oh my gosh, he ate it in like 2 bites. He was like, arr, arr.
Yeah, I got to get on that. I do have to get on that. By the way, I know you saw it because you commented, but gentlemen on the show, I want you to know that one of our listeners and Facebook posters, when she votes in November, she's going to be voting for KB1 and KB2 for president and vice president.
It's Corey. It's Corey Wolf.
Oh, it's Corey.
And yes,
Corey Wolf.
Corey Wolf. Yes. And I'm like, if you vote for me, it is coconut cake for all. That is my new official platform. I'm sorry, Tevin. I will find an alternate cake for you. Like, do you like chocolate? Do you like red velvet?
I'll just suck it up and stomach the coconut cake and support.
That's so nice.
Yep, and support.
I don't know, because Doan's Bakery, they've got a whole like beautiful bakery case full of baked goods that you might like something in there.
Perfect. We can. I'm sure there's something in there
I'm not going to force coconut cake if you don't like coconut.
Oh, get him a Hostess cupcake. He'd probably like that.
Oh, I like Tevin.
Well, I didn't say you had to torture him, but I'd give him I like those.
I want to give him like a fresh baked good.
Well, I understand, but he's
Something
fighting
good.
you on it. He's fighting you on it. That's the problem.
I would say I would go out to LA and get one, but after witnessing, not even being a part of one directly, you are much tougher than I am, because I would have had an emotional breakdown and died 5.0.
But you know what? Everyone has their weather limits. Mine is driving in ice and snow. That terrifies me. And about a year ago, I went back to Boston, and of course I land at Logan, get my rental car, and it's snowing, not just like light dusting. And I have to go all the way out, a solid 30 minutes out to the burbs. And I was like white knuckling it the whole way. I'm like, just get there. And I'm so used to big cities and everything. And the freeways there's no street lights. It's just dark and woodsy.
Oh my God. What a terrifying life you have.
It is, but obviously earthquakes not terrifying. In fact, usually my go-to method is to go to Twitter first and tweet earthquake.
Well, see, we kept you from doing your public duty. Way to go, Tom.
Yeah, but I'm going to get the clip and be like, look at me shaking it up on the Tom Barnard show.
All right, sister, we'll try not to be in any more earthquakes, and we'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
Yes, I will be here.
God,
and try to deliver something good. I don't know.
Oh, you've done a great job today. That's all I know.
That's my new tagline. Shaking it up every morning. Tom Barnard Podcast.
That works for me. No question. Thank you very much, sister. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
Kristen Bird Entertainment News brought to you by North American Banking Company. Go to nabanco.com to learn more. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. I will tell you, after being in this business now for, it was 1971. So it's 53 years, 53 years. I have never been interviewing someone who started shaking on screen like that.
That was incredible.
That was amazing.
It's just like, earthquake.
Well, and just a pro. Like if we wouldn't have reacted, she would have just powered through.
Yep.
And just continued on with the report. Tevin and I, giant babies, were like, "Oh my God, what do we do? Do we need to do anything?"
She's dying. Somebody called 911.
They got to put that on Channel 5 Eyewitness News tonight. Witnessing someone in an earthquake who doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like, what's it, just an earthquake, whatever. Yep. We got to get a hold of Egert. Get that on camera tonight. Works for me. All right, fellas, we will talk to you guys tomorrow. Family show up in about 10 minutes.